The corridors of the diplomatic starship Aurora Meridian were quiet at that hour. Most of the crew had already finished their shifts, and the soft blue lights along the walls dimmed automatically to simulate nighttime. The ship was enormous, built to host negotiations between dozens of alien civilizations, but tonight it felt strangely empty. I walked through the silent hallway holding a tablet filled with translation data. My name is Daniel Reyes, and I was one of the human linguistics specialists assigned to the Interstellar Alliance. Which meant one thing. I spent most of my time solving misunderstandings between species who could vaporize planets if offended. No pressure. That evening I had just finished helping translate a negotiation between the Lorian Trade Guild and the Hastari diplomats. The meeting had run longer than expected, and now all I wanted was to reach my quarters and sleep. Unfortunately, the Aurora Meridian was a maze. The architects who designed it believed every species should feel comfortable on board. As a result, corridors twisted in strange patterns, rooms were arranged in unusual clusters, and doors often looked identical. I stared at the tablet. Section D. Corridor 12. Room 417. I reached a door and sighed with relief. Finally. Without thinking, I pressed the entry panel. The door slid open silently. And that was when I realized something was very, very wrong. The room was enormous. Soft violet light glowed from crystalline lamps along the walls. Silver curtains floated in the air as if gravity barely affected them. The air smelled faintly of flowers I couldn't name. And at the center of the room stood someone. A tall figure turned slowly toward me. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered like moonlight, faintly blue with delicate patterns glowing across it like living starlight. Long silver hair flowed down her back, and her eyes, deep violet, focused on me with sharp curiosity. Her clothing looked more like ceremonial silk than anything practical. And behind her stood two armored guards with weapons that looked extremely capable of turning me into dust. My brain took exactly 1 second to process the situation. I had not walked into my room. I had walked into the royal quarters of an alien. A very important alien. One of the guards immediately stepped forward. "Identify yourself," he demanded in a deep voice. I raised both hands. Hi. Great start, Daniel. I think I made a wrong turn. The guard didn't look convinced. But the woman in the center of the room tilted her head slightly. Then she smiled. Interesting. Her voice was calm, melodic, and strangely confident. "You are human." "Yes," I said quickly. "And also extremely lost." The guards remained tense, but the woman raised one elegant hand. They stepped back instantly. That alone told me everything I needed to know. She was important. Very important. "I am Princess Liara of the Valari Dominion," she said.
Ah.
Fantastic. Not just important. Royal. I had accidentally broken into a princess's private chamber. I forced a polite smile. "Well, Princess Liara, this has been lovely, but I should probably stay." The word wasn't loud, but it carried authority that made even the guards straighten. I blinked. "Stay." She began walking toward me slowly, studying me with obvious curiosity. I have never seen a human up close. I resisted the urge to point out that humans were literally everywhere on the station, but apparently not in her room. "I apologize for the intrusion," I said carefully. "I'll leave immediately." "You entered without fear." "I entered without looking at the room number." That made her laugh. The sound was surprisingly warm. "I like you already." The guards glanced at each other. Apparently, this was unusual. Princess Liara circled me slowly, like a scientist studying a rare specimen. "Humans are fascinating. Most of us are just tired," I said. "Perhaps." She stopped directly in front of me. Her glowing violet eyes met mine. But you walked into a royal chamber guarded by elite soldiers and still managed to joke. That's a survival mechanism. Or bravery. Or stupidity. She smiled again. Perhaps all three. Then something unexpected happened. She waved at the guards. Leave us. The two soldiers froze. Your Highness. That is an order. They hesitated, but eventually they bowed and stepped outside the chamber. The door closed. Now it was just the alien princess and me, alone, which felt like the start of a story that usually ended with someone getting arrested. I cleared my throat. Princess, I really should go. You will. She walked toward a table where glowing star charts floated above a projection grid. But first answer something. I crossed my arms cautiously. Depends on the question. Why do humans explore? I blinked. That's the big question. Yes. She gestured toward the stars projected in the air. My people conquered hundreds of systems. We expanded for power, for security, for dominance. Her voice softened, but humans arrived in the Alliance with almost nothing. A young civilization, weak technology compared to others. She looked back at me. Yet your species explores further than most older empires. I shrugged. Curiosity. Only curiosity. And survival. She stepped closer again. How so? Humans grew up on a dangerous planet, I explained. Predators, disasters, diseases. If we stayed still, we died. Her eyes studied me carefully. So you move forward. Exactly. To survive. And to see what's out there. She seemed to consider that deeply. For a moment, the princess who commanded star fleets looked almost thoughtful. Then she smiled again. Then perhaps it is fortunate you walked into this room. Fortunate. Yes. She tapped the star chart. A distant system glowed bright blue. I leave tomorrow. For where? A classified mission. That did not make me feel safer. She continued. A newly discovered region beyond Alliance space. Sounds dangerous. It will be. She stepped closer. Which is why I need someone who explores not for conquest, but curiosity. I stared. You want a translator? I want you. That was unexpected. Princess, I'm not exactly a space explorer. You walked into the wrong room of a royal suite, she said calmly. That shows initiative. That shows poor navigation. She ignored that. I believe fate brought you here. I laughed. Or bad hallway design. But she wasn't joking. I want you on my expedition. That sounds like a terrible career move. For a human? Yes. For an adventurer? Maybe less terrible. She folded her arms. Well, I thought about it. A classified mission. Unknown space. Alien princess. Possible death. Definitely interesting. I sighed. You know what? Yes. If I say yes, will the guards stop looking like they want to shoot me? Yes. Then I guess I'm in. Her smile widened. Excellent. She walked to the door and opened it. The guards reappeared instantly. This human is now part of my expedition. Their eyes widened. But my decision. They bowed immediately. And just like that, my life changed because I walked into the wrong room. The journey begins the next morning. The expedition ship Starlance departed the Aurora Meridian. Princess Liara stood on the command platform, watching the stars stretch into brilliant lines as the ship entered warp. I stood beside her, still processing my life choices. You seem nervous, she said. I accepted a mission from a princess I met 6 hours ago. Reasonable concern. And we're heading into unexplored space. Yes. And I'm the least qualified person on this ship. She nodded thoughtfully. Also accurate. Comforting. But something about her confidence made the situation feel less terrifying. Over the following weeks, we traveled beyond known systems. Strange nebulae drifted around us. Ancient ruins appeared on abandoned moons. We encountered alien life forms that no one in the Alliance had documented before. And through it all, Princess Liara remained calm, curious, and determined. She wasn't the distant ruler I had expected. She was an explorer, a leader who wanted to see what lay beyond the edges of the map. And slowly, we became friends. Then one day, everything changed. The ship's sensors detected something enormous. An artificial structure drifting near the edge of a dark star. A structure older than any known civilization. The crew gathered in the command chamber. "This is impossible," one scientist whispered. The structure was massive, larger than a city, covered in ancient metallic designs that glowed faintly. Princess Liara looked at me. "What do you think, human explorer?" I stared at the ancient station. "I think we found something important." She smiled. "Then we investigate." The ending, we entered the structure carefully. Inside, we discovered something no one expected. A dormant alien gateway. An ancient machine capable of opening pathways between distant galaxies. Technology far beyond anything the Alliance possessed. But the gateway was unstable. Activating it could destroy the entire system. The crew argued for hours. Some wanted to report it and leave. Others wanted to claim the discovery. Princess Liara looked at me. What would humans do? I thought about Earth, about curiosity, about the unknown. We tried to understand it first. So we studied the gateway, decoded the ancient language carved into its surface, and finally discovered the truth. It wasn't a weapon. It was an invitation. A door left behind by a civilization that wanted others to explore the universe. Princess Liara stood beside me as the gateway slowly activated. "You were right," she said softly, "about curiosity." A brilliant portal opened in space, leading to stars no one had ever seen. She turned to me. "You walked into the wrong room, Daniel Reyes." I smiled. Best mistake I ever made. She extended her hand. "Ready to explore another galaxy?" I looked at the glowing gateway, at the endless unknown waiting beyond it. Then I shook her hand. "Let's see what's out there." And together, the alien princess and the human who walked into the wrong room stepped into the future. The portal closed behind us, leaving the old galaxy behind, and beginning a new story among the stars.